Hey everyone, welcome back to JDB Selects. We are the fastest growing rugby league channel on YouTube. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Almost 90% of my viewers aren't subscribed. Also be sure to leave your tips in the comments below, and let's get into this week's video. Now, going over last week, I thought for sure he had another perfect week. However, the Bulldogs had other plans. I guess anyone who had 8 out of 8 last week was a Bulldogs supporter. The 7 out of 8 leaves us at 71% for the season. Round 15 gets underway with the 10th placed St George Illawarra Dragons hosting the 7th placed South Sydney Rabbitohs. The Red V have only beaten South Sydney twice since 2015, having lost 15 of the past 17 meetings, while the Rabbits haven't lost at WIN Stadium since 2005. The Dragons went down 19 points to the North Queensland Cowboys last week in an abysmal showing. The Saints only completed at 67% with 15 errors, and despite having 49% of possession, struggled to convert their opportunities and ultimately came up short. The South Sydney Rabbitohs got past the Gold Coast Titans last week, however I didn't think the victory was all that convincing. The Bunnies only completed at 74% and had more errors and missed tackles than the Titans, however they still got the 2 points. Both sides have been relatively hot and cold in 2022, and I feel this game could go either way, but I'm going to take South Sydney by 1 to 12 points. The first game on Friday sees the 9th placed Manly Sea Eagles hosting the 3rd placed North Queensland Cowboys at Brookie. Manly have won 5 of the past 6 games against the Cowboys as well as 4 straight, but surprisingly the Cowboys have won 3 of the past 4 games against Manly at 4 Pines Park. Even without DCE, the Sea Eagles easily got past the woeful West Tigers last week, and despite starting slow, finished with a flurry of points thanks to mammoth efforts from the likes of Garrick, Olakau'atu and Aloiai. Similarly, the Cowboys enjoyed success last week against the Dragons, beating them by 19 points. The Cowboys enjoyed the return of their origin stars, who had a clear impact, despite facing a poor Dragons outfit. The win was tainted with the loss of Cowboys' rising star, Harlem Lukey, going down with a confirmed ruptured ACL. I think the Cowboys get it done 1 to 12. Their defense has been too strong this year and they should be able to hold Manly out. The final game on Friday sees the 2nd placed Melbourne Storm host the 4th placed Brisbane Broncos. The Melbourne Storm have won a staggering 20 of the past 22 meetings between the two clubs and go into the round 15 clash on a 10-game winning streak against Brisbane. The Storm have outscored the Broncos 166 points to 30 in their past 4 meetings, and the average winning margin in the previous 10 meetings is a whopping 24 points. The Storm have unfortunately been riddled with injuries, and despite fielding a B-grade side last week, were able to beat the Roosters with relative ease. Meanwhile, the Broncos made it 7 straight wins for the first time since 2015 with a gritty performance against the Raiders at Suncorp. The Broncos' win, however, was tainted with the loss of Herbie Farnworth, Payne Haas and Adam Reynolds to injury. I think that unfortunately for Kevy Walters and his troops, Melbourne rain on their parade and snap their 7-game winning streak. Melbourne 13+. Super Saturday gets underway with the 5th placed Cronulla Sharks taking on the last placed Gold Coast Titans. The Sharks will be looking to make it 8 wins in a row against the Titans, who have never beaten the Sharks in Coffs Harbour. The boys from the Shire piled on the points against the Warriors last week, despite only completing at 77% and only having 46% of possession, which really shows how good the Sharks' attack is from a distance. The likes of Kennedy, Talakai, Raman and Mulatalo can slice their opposition to shreds with relative ease when given the space and time to do so. The Titans went down to the Rabbitohs and slumped to 1-4 in their last 5 outings. Despite the 14-point loss, the Titans completed at 91% and played relatively well, but lacked any spark in attack, with Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson's absence having a clear impact. I think the Sharks keep their perfect record against the GC in Coffs Harbour intact and beat the Titans by 1 to 12 points. And secondly, on Saturday, the 14th placed New Zealand Warriors take on the 1st placed Penrith Panthers. The Warriors have lost 4 straight against the Panthers, as well as 4 of the past 18 meetings between the two clubs. The Panthers have a 100% winning record at Moreton Daily Stadium, albeit they've only played 1 game here back in 2021 against the West Tiger. There probably isn't much I need to say about this game. The Panthers looked as good as ever, easily dispatching the Knights by 36 points last week. While the Warriors, despite going 12 points ahead early against Cronulla, were at their woeful best, kicking restarts out on the full and countless unforced errors. Unfortunately, I can't see anything else than the Panthers winning 13+. And the final game on Saturday sees the 6th-placed Parramatta Eels clash with the 8th-placed Sydney Roosters at CommBank Stadium. The Roosters have already beaten the Eels earlier this year and have won 6 of the past 7 games against the Eels, as well as having only lost once in 7 outings to CommBank Stadium. The Eels were upset by the Bulldogs last week, which was something I don't think anyone apart from Bulldog fans could have even imagined or tipped. They looked shocked by the aggression in attack and defence from the Dogs and never looked in it. The Roosters also lost last week, however they gave the Melbourne Storm a good nudge, only going down by 8 points. The Roosters were close to scoring a few more through the aerial skills of Joseph Suaalii, but ultimately came up short. Both sides will be looking to bounce back, but I think the Roosters can best the Eels for the second time this year as they have more firepower in attack. The 11th-placed Canberra Raiders host the 12th-placed Newcastle Knights to get the Sunday ticket rolling. The Raiders will be looking to snap a 3-game losing streak to Newcastle, who have won 4 of the past 5 against the Raiders. However, the Raiders have won 9 of the 13 games against the Raiders in Canberra, a record which includes a win in 4 of the past 5 meetings in the nation's capital. Last week the Raiders went down to the Broncos at Suncorp in an even contest, but as is almost expected, the Raiders failed to cross the line in the second half. Something they have struggled to do all season, only scoring 12 second-half points in the past 3 rounds. The Knights also tasted defeat, being pumped by the Penrith Panthers, and to add insult to injury, star fullback Callum Ponga had to leave the field, following a huge collision with Viliami Kikau. Now people for some reason love to tease me that I never picked the Raiders, so here you go. This week I am taking the Raiders 1-12. And the final game for round 15 is the 15th-placed Canterbury Bulldogs hosting the 13th-placed Wests Tigers in Sydney. The Bulldogs have already lost to the Tigers this year and have lost 4 of the past 5 games against them. The Bulldogs surprised the entire rugby league world last week with a 30-point win over the Parramatta Eels, with Josh Adokar bagging a hat-trick and Matt Burton continue to wreak havoc with his kicking game. The Tigers were competitive in the first half against the Sea Eagles, however ended up suffering a big loss thanks to handling errors and Manly dominating field position. I think the Bulldogs come out charged up after beating the Eels and beat the Tigers 1-12 at home. So in summary, I'm taking the Rabbitohs and Cowboys 1-12. The Storm 13+, the Sharks 1-12, the Panthers 13+, and the Roosters, Raiders and Bulldogs 1-12. Let me know in the comments below who you are tipping for round 15 and subscribe to never miss a video.